With the start of the spoiler season right around the corner, I thought this would be a nice opportunity to take a crack at guessing the new version of Prism. So in the armor event, I think I sort of discussed Vizet and how I don't think they will end up using the Soul Shackle mechanic. I think they'll be more in line with Vizari and just normal rune chant tokens. But I think Prism is going to be a little bit more interesting. So to start off, why don't we take a look at the initial version of Luminaris. So Luminaris was during your action phase, illusionist auras you control are weapons with one attack and once per turn attack. This was extremely powerful. That's, well, as soon as Prism was banned, it fell by roughly 50%. That is a huge drop, right? Because obviously Prism was the only one that could utilize this, and well, it's sad to see it's gone. It's pretty interesting too to think about the Living Legends. I think Monarch are the only ones with majestic weapons, right? Connected to them. So Raiden is majestic, so is Hexagore, although Galaxy Black was just a token, right? Was there token versions of Luminaris? Yeah, so it was sad to see it go. We also have the other subtext. While there is a card with a yellow color strip in your pitch zone, illusionist attacks you control have Go Again. So again, substantially powerful. And then the new version we're left with is Luminaris Celestial Fury. But boy oh boy, is it heavily neutered, and I don't really... It's more like a... Well, it shouldn't be a Celestial Fury, just to sum it up quickly. So, once per turn instant, pay 2, target angel attack or attack action card with Herald in its name gets Go Again. Yeah, that is such a pull away from the initial smaller, normal, non-Fury version, right? So this was a very broad stamp of Go Again, and knowing that giving all auras, so Spectral Shield as well, the ability to attack. When saying that, what does that mean for Prism? Now keep clicking on the wrong tab, I should just X that. So, this is a broader ability in a different sense, right? It pertains to heralds and angels only, not illusions, not any other type of illusion cards. Granted, obviously, dragons are only available for Dromai, and heralds themselves are only available for Prism, but I do find it interesting that they're wording it this way rather than just target illusionist action with Phantasm or something like that, signifies it as an illusion, as the Go Again. It has to be an angel or a herald. So in saying that, I think Prism's own ability is going to be a little bit different than the initial version of Prism. So if we take a look at the initial version of Prism Sculptor of the Arclight, right? Yeah, Arclight. We have once per turn, instant, pay 2, banish a card from Prism's Soul, and create a Spectral Shield. Now, Spectral Shields are going to be significantly less useful as Prism, given the new base weapon that you're going to utilize. So then I think a good assumption to make is the fact that the new version of Prism, the Awakener of Soul, is going to have anything to do with Spectral Shields. And in fact, I think they're probably going to be more in line with, again, the weapon, Herald, or even Angels. Instead of this Sculptor of the Arclight, which refers to their ability to shape the 8 Heralds of Soul, we now have the Awakener of Soul, and the little text that we saw in Dusk Till Dawn was regarding how the angels come about, how the angels are summoned forth, and the angels themselves aren't actually illusions. They're not light illusionist actions. Apart from Soroya, who still has the evoke side of the card, the one we have been shown is an angel ally. So I think Prism is going to have somewhat of a broader ability just to influence or buff up your ally cards. And this would actually be a great little bridge to PvE. Because if Prism has a broad enough ability where it's not just allies by the way of cards you play, but allies in terms of anyone you are playing with, campaigning with, eventually conquering whatever PvE is, well then that would be a pretty cool ability, don't you think? So something like once per turn instant, we'll keep it the same, pay 2, banish a card from your soul, give an ally +1 attack, +2 attack, or something like that. Just a nice, simple ability to buff up your allies, be it angels, heralds, or other players. Going back to the weapon, we have that it gives Go Again. That is similar to the bottom line of of the first Luminaris without having to have a yellow strip card. And since it is also a once per turn instant, I think it would seemingly be the best bet that Prism's own ability works with it in some sort of way too. Maybe as a broader sense, so if we scrap the once per turn instant and do once per turn action, or even just an action pay to buff up your angels, that might be a good comboing effect for Luminaris Celestial Fury. The other avenue to sort of think about is that a lot of the angel cards have ward and some ability that triggers when they hit that usually revolves around the soul. So Prism themselves might have a different style of ability that actually allows you to easily put cards into your soul, rather than using the heralds to do just that. Because a lot of the heralds have, when it hits, put it into your hero soul. If Herald of Tenacity hits, put it into your hero soul. I think it would be more in line for Prism to have their own version of this effect that the heralds share, if we are going to see a sort of deck archetype that revolves around the angels specifically. Another thing probably worth noting is the fact that usually these heroes with very unique mechanics, so not just Illusionist, but also say Assassin, have very specific stylized weapons that we don't see a ginormous amount of copies. Right, so Arachne has Spider-Bite to begin with, and then we have the 3 new daggers, but they all share the same effect, that when they hit, they apply some sort of debuff to a specific set of cards. I think under that same vein of thought, I doubt Prism will have any other type of weapon outside of Luminaris. I can see a generic-ish weapon for just Illusionist as a broad sense, something that's a little bit more of a common ground between Prism and Dromite, but I doubt that Prism themselves will have a different weapon outside of Luminaris Celestial Fury. So in saying that, their own hero ability will probably go hand in hand with Celestial Fury, just like the Dorinthia Quicksilver Prodigy, who goes hand in hand with their specific weapon, Dordblade Resplendent. So overall, I think that the new Prism variation is going to be slightly different than the predecessor. I think we are starting to move away from token generation, in the sense that I don't think Visette is going to use Soul Shackle, and I don't think Prism is going to use the Spectral Shield tokens. I think Prism will center significantly around the 8 Archangels, given the fact that that is the lore side of things, and this set seems to be very much predicated on the lore basis of cards. I mean, we've seen a bit of Cheyenne teased in it, which is great. Can't wait to see all the cards related to Shapeshifter. I hope there's more than just the specialization, and I think there will be, given the numbering, because it is quite a low card, and usually the unique cards are placed at the end, right? So then I think what I'm going to guess is that Prism's ability in itself will probably be a once per turn. It will have some sort of effect on allies, be it whether or not they stick to the terminology relating to heralds and angels, or they keep it as a broader sense so that it is then applicable for group play, which I think would be a nice sort of avenue into setting up all the heroes for more group play as we continue to expand the game. And I do think it will not have anything to do with new Spectral. And I do think it will not have anything to do with the Spectral Shield tokens. What are your thoughts? What do you think the new Prism will hold? Do you think it'll be more of, say, an aggressor? Because I would personally think that the initial version of Prism was meant to be a defensive style of hero, and they didn't actually, predict how significant Luminaris would be to just creating a powerhouse of the initial Prism. So I think this is sort of a more aggressive style, really buff your board state in terms of the angels and possibly the heralds, as well as, again, allied players. Let me know your thoughts, or, just wait till the 30th. I'm sure Prism will be one of the first cards spoiled, given everything we've seen with Visette. I'm pretty sure they'd get the heroes out of the way, right? Looking forward to the season, though. Gonna be interesting. Gonna be a good set.